Perfect. All right. So today, ladies, we're going to talk about how to onboard clients with ease. And I'm really just going to go through the process with you that we use in our firm to onboard clients. I use the phrase a lot, work while you sleep. And this is what I'm talking about. A lot of these things you can set up for automations so that they are happening while you sleep. I love waking up in the mornings and seeing when I have new discovery calls popping up through the night, or someone signs their contract or their proposal or what have you, while I'm at the beach with my kids or out in the pool, like Lakeisha said earlier, with my kids. So doing some of these things now will save you so much time in the future. So the things we're going to talk about today is what even is onboarding. I actually get asked this a lot, and so I thought maybe I should explain what onboarding is. The tech stack that we use and I actually recommend for you to be using for onboarding, we're going to break onboarding down into two different phases. Phase one is going to be contact to contract, and I'll explain that in a minute. And the second phase is contract to kickoff. These are the two phases that we use in our business, and I break them up into two different phases because they use two different softwares. So one software is for the first phase and the second software is the second phase, and you'll see that as we jump in. So again, hello, I'm glad you are here. I know we just did an introduction before I hit the record button, but for those who do not know me, because there are some new faces here, my name is Stephanie Manley. I am a wife, a mother, and an animal lover. For those of you who don't know, I live in small town USA on a little mini farm where we have chickens and goats and sheep and all the things. And so when I'm not spending time here with you bookkeeping, I am out playing with baby goats most of the time. I have been in bookkeeping for over 25 years, and I am now a business coach for bookkeeper now for the last 3 years. And coaching has become my number one passion. And my aim is to build this bookkeeping coaching firm large enough that I can actually offload my tax and bookkeeping practice in the future. So what is onboarding? Well, in simplest form, it is the process of familiarizing a new client with the firm's products or services, and this is a critical part of the client experience. So a lot of people think that the first little call that we have with our client or all of our content that we have on social media is so important. But let me tell you, your work doesn't even really start until the onboarding process really begins. It is a fundamental phase in which your firm sets expectations for how you and your client will work together to achieve the business goals. Remember, you start with the right foot, right? Start off on the right foot with your clients. Make sure they understand what the expectations are going in. Set those boundaries from the beginning because we teach people how to treat us. I'm going to repeat that. We teach people how to treat us. So in the beginning and onboarding, if you are taking calls from clients when you don't want to be taking phone calls, I'm one of those people. I don't communicate by phone with my clients. I don't like it. I don't communicate by text with my clients. I don't like it. But if I start off that way with my clients, that is the expectation that I'm setting. But if I start in the beginning with, if you need a call, book it with my calendar, then that is the way that they will continue to do business with me from then on. So the tech stack. There are actually 4 pieces of tech stack that we use in our onboarding system. The first is a client relationship management, or some people call it a customer relationship management, a CRM. We use Dubsado. Dubsado is my absolute favorite for this, but there are also others out there like Honeybook, 17 Hats. There's many different ones that you can use out there. Task management system. So this is where you're going to be keeping up with all of your tasks for either bookkeeping, onboarding, whatever it may be. Our firm uses Keeper for this. If you haven't heard of Keeper, you are so missing out. I would love to talk to you about it if you haven't already heard of it. Our firm also uses ClickUp, but ClickUp is more for internal. I actually use it as a bird's eye view of my company, more so than my subcontractors use, and my clients do not use ClickUp at all. You could also use Asana. I know many of you do use Asana here in this group right now. So Asana is another option for you as well. You need an appointment setter. Long gone are the days of clients calling, talking to a receptionist, and going through an appointment book to decide when can a client come in or when can you take a phone call from a client. Have an appointment setter. We use Calendly, but you can also use, there's Acuity, there's all types of appointment schedulers out there. Dubsado and Honeybook also have their own appointment schedulers inside of them. So if you're using Dubsado or using Honeybook, you're more than welcome to use that as well, and you don't have an additional software. I personally just like the feel of Calendly, and I can link all of my businesses together under one Calendly is why I use it. And a virtual meeting platform. So most of you are virtual. I don't think I'll ever go back to a brick and mortar office. I love being virtual. I love meeting with my clients through Zoom, which is what we use. But if you're using Google Suites, Google Meet is free. So that's another option for you as well. Any questions so far on tech stack? And if you have any questions, guys, when we're going, all you have to do is unmute yourself, and that's my signal that you do have a question, and I'll stop and answer those things. But I have a little funny for you here. And it says, okay, it's time to take action. Oh, what's that shiny object? I put this in here because I see this so often in my coaching business. Where I am coaching either one-on-one or in a group setting, and we talk about tech stack a lot, and a new tech comes out or someone mentions a new tech, and we get all excited about it, and we go and we try to incorporate that new piece of tech into our business when really we're procrastinating on doing other things that we should be doing, like growing our firm. So guys, there is never going to be a piece of tech that's going to do it all and do it all perfectly. It will never exist. Okay, I'm just here to tell you, even with all the AI and all the things, there's never going to be one piece that everyone's going to like and is going to do everything the way we want it done. So if you found something that works and is working well, keep it until you are maxed out in capacity and you are trying to find something else that'll make things better. Okay. Now, if there's some hiccups in your system, maybe it is time to change, but I would always ask for outside opinions on that. Get someone else's advice on what you're doing. Maybe you can just change up what you're doing right now to make it more efficient instead of completely offboarding that tech onto something else. So shiny object is real. I have it myself, especially when new things come out. I just want to see all about it. But the truth is I'm procrastinating on doing something else most of the time when I have shiny object. So let's move into contact to contract. And this is actually a 6-step phase. The first phase is contact. So that's the initial contact for your potential client. The initial call, discovery, the discovery call, the proposal, and the contract. Now, again, this is just the way that our firm does things. Doesn't mean that it's the right way. It's just the way that we have found. So you can slim this up if you want, spread it out if you want, take what you want and leave the rest. So the first thing is going to be the initial contact from the client. Well, how are they going to get a hold of you? Again, long gone are yellow pages, right? We don't have those anymore. So they can't look up Bookkeeper in the yellow pages and find us. They're probably on Google searching. They're probably on Facebook searching, or maybe they have ran across one of your ads on Facebook or one of your ads on Google. And when I say ads, I'm not necessarily meaning paid ads, just your content there. And you should have somewhere, either on your website, on your Facebook page, to me, it should be everywhere, the point of contact for the client to get a hold of you to book a consultation. Okay, so there needs to be a book a call, book a consultation, book a free discovery, whatever you want to call it. There should be a link somewhere to go to your calendar. Okay, so from there, they're going to book a call. The way mine works is once they book a call, they are rerouted into my CRM because I want to track these calls. And in my CRM, where they are going to be sent to, like automatically, there's going to be an intake form there for them to complete. Now, for me, that's going to be lots of different questions. So I want to know more about them as a person. I want to know more about them as their business. I want to know, why do they need a bookkeeper? Have they ever had a bookkeeper before? It's actually a question on mine. And that way I'll know I can ask some questions about that during our call. I want to know what their gross annual or their gross monthly revenue or their annual gross revenue is. And I ask that because if they fill out a form and they say that their revenue is just say $1,000 a month, I know what my minimum rate is. And someone who's only making $1,000 a month is probably not going to be able to afford me as a bookkeeper. And I'm going to know that going in. Now you have a decision to make here. You can be someone like me who has calls with every single person who comes through the pipeline. So if they come through and they say, I just started my business, I am not making one dime, but I know I need a bookkeeper, I'm going to talk to them. Okay, that's just my personality. That's what I like to do. There are other bookkeepers who decide this person is not my ideal client. I don't have time to talk to this person. I'm going to tell them, I'm sorry, but you're not a good fit. And it may not be, and I'm not going to tell them it's the money, but I'm going to say right now, you're just not a good fit based on the answers to this question. So you could decide which way you want to go. For me, if I know they're not a good fit for money when I'm going in, I have a smaller ticket offer that I can offer them during our call. That typically I will do that in the initial call. So the next step, I'm actually going to do that. For you, it may be that you're just trying to collect data, talk to people, really gain that experience with talking to potential clients, and you want their information for the future. So as their business grows, you're going to reach out to them in 6 months. You're going to reach out to them in a year and see how things are going. Maybe they can afford you at that point. All right, the second step is going to be initial call with the client. So before that call, again, I want you to review that intake form, really understand and know that person before you get on the call. Do not get on an initial call with a client and never look at that form, okay? That does not set a very good example right from the beginning. Find out what the client really needs. Now, I'm saying that because every business needs bookkeeping, okay? That's just a general. Every business needs bookkeeping, that's compliance. But typically, a potential client's reaching out to you because there's a problem. They're struggling with something that made them initiate that call. It wasn't that they woke up one morning and said, you know, I think I need to hire a bookkeeper today. It may be that it's near the end of the year and they're seeing tax commercial ads and they're like, oh man, I got to get this done, right? It may be that they're trying to build a home or buy a home and they know they have to get their financials ready. It may be that they're trying to get a loan on their business and the loan officer says, you know, I can't loan you any money. You don't have any financial statements. There's a multitude of reasons that someone could be looking for a bookkeeper, but it's typically not, I just need my bookkeeping done. So it's up to us to really find the reason that they've reached out to us. And then I want you to offer to complete a diagnostic review. So you're listening to them, you're listening to their problems, and then you're going to say, you know, I really like to help you. But the first phase in this is I need to take a look at your books. Okay, so hopefully they have a set of books already. And you're going to ask them to get into their books. You're going to say, you know, I need you to grant me access to your QBO or your Xero or whatever. And then from there, we typically send an email after the call. And it will actually give them instructions on how to do that. My clients sometimes just don't know how to do that. So I break it down for them, make it super, super simple for the client. And then while I'm on this call, I'm going to go ahead and book my next appointment, which is the discovery call appointment. So I'm going to go ahead and book that call with the potential client right then while I'm on the phone. I'm going to open my calendar and say, okay, Mr. Joe, I have an opening on Friday at 1 o'clock. Would that work for you for us to meet again and for me to go over what I found in the discovery, go over how we can really help you in your business solve whatever problem it was, right? So help you be able to get these financials ready for your bank so that you can go buy that piece of equipment that your business really needs to make more profits. Okay. Again, turn that struggle back around on the solution for them. All right. The discovery call also, I will go ahead and say, I do not recommend that you book that any more than 3 days out from the initial call. They book that call with you, they need you now. So make sure it's at least 1 day so you have time to do the discovery, but no more than 3 days after, because again, they need you right now. So don't give them a chance to go somewhere else and get somebody else to help them. 3 days. After the call, we're going to complete a quick analysis of their bookkeeping data. Now, there's lots of controversy over this, so I'm going to tell you what other coaches tell you to do. Other coaches say, charge for this discovery. Okay? I don't charge for discovery, and I'm going to tell you why I don't. I don't charge for discovery because I'm not going to give my client anything that they're paying for. Okay. If you're doing a paid discovery, I highly recommend that you give your client some form of analysis of what you have found. So if you're charging them, you should be able to give them like a PDF document, something to say, this is what I've done, this is what I found in the books, and this is what we need to do. I don't give that to my client. So I don't feel comfortable charging for that. I'm also not in their books more than probably 30 minutes. I'm just going in, checking how many bank accounts, how far behind are they? Do they have point of sale? Do they have credit cards? Like what all is going on in the books? What's going to have to be done to give me a good price analysis? That's the main purpose that I'm doing a discovery. So since it's for me and I'm not giving it to them, I don't feel like I should charge them. And I'm going to start putting together a price analysis and a proposal. I've talked about pricing before. I won't get in that today. But this is the point where I start looking at pricing and I start feeling around on what I'm going to price this client. The next step is to jump on that discovery call. So maybe it's for Joe and it's on Friday. So I'm going to have that call with the client to discuss what I found during the discovery. I may say, hey, Joe, do you realize that your accounts have not been reconciled for the last 6 months? And Joe's probably going to look at me like a deer in headlights and say, what on earth are you talking about? What is reconcile? I don't know what that means. And so I'm going to give them a little bit of information. I'm going to educate them so that they understand how important it is to reconcile your books. That's probably the number one thing that I see there's an issue with. I may see that during our initial call, Joe told me that he had 3 credit cards. But when I'm looking in QBO, there's no credit cards in QBO. So I'm going to ask him about those during the discovery call. I'm going to point out problems to Joe. And then I'm going to tell him, it's okay, though. I've seen worse. Don't worry about it. I got you, Joe. And I feel very comfortable that I'm going to be able to help you with this. But please don't overpromise to your clients. Always underpromise and overdeliver. Right? So if you don't think you can do it, don't tell him that you can. I'm going to explain to him how I can help with the struggle. So I'm going to tell Joe, I got you. I got this. You can go to the ball game, do what you need to do with your kids. And I'm going to handle your books from here on out if that's what you'd like for me to do. And Joe, this is the order that I think that we should do things in. Okay. So the next step, Joe, is going to be, I'm going to send you a proposal. And the proposal is going to be about all the services that we talked about. I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple other options, Joe. When I send you the proposal, I usually send my clients a 3-tier option. Normally, the middle option is the one I'm going to want them to go for, but I want them to see that there's more potential with me. Okay, I want them to see that I offer CFO services, I offer tax planning, I offer tax preparation. All those things are going to be listed on there, even though we haven't talked about it. So they know as they grow, they can stay with me and I'm going to be with them the long haul. And then I'm going to give him a price over the phone. Now, I don't like sending proposals out and let them have sticker shock, right? I want to talk to them about it right then. So I can go ahead and hear what they have to say. When they say, ooh, that's a lot. Okay, I bet some of you have heard that. That's a lot of money, right? I just don't know that I can afford that. Okay. Now, remember, you've already talked to Joe and you've talked to him about all of his struggles, and you know Joe really needs this piece of equipment in order to be able to do this really big job he's got coming up. He told you that. That's why he came to you. So then you're going to turn it on Joe and say, well, Joe, what happens if you don't get this bookkeeping done? Well, I'm not going to get that big job because I can't buy that piece of equipment. Okay, so that big job is $1 million job that you're about to get, Joe. Is this $700 a month really that expensive if you're going to miss out on $1 million job. Right? Or maybe they say they've told you that the reason that they're coming to you, because we have a lot of women, the reason they come to us is because they're missing time with their kids. Right? They're missing time with their kids. And like I have many social media managers and their pricing is well over $1,000 a month. They come to me and my rate's about $600. And I could say, that's less than one new client. Right? What would it feel like to be able to go get in the pool with your kids today? What would it feel like to be able to take the time that you've been taking on your bookkeeping to go to the zoo with your kids? I'm not there to make them feel bad, but I want them to get emotional about it. You've got to attach emotions to the proposal. Show them what they're missing out by not allowing you to do their bookkeeping, not allowing you to take that time away from them, for allowing them to be able to do the things that they want to do. All right, so after the discovery call, I'm going to finish up that proposal that I've already started, and I'm going to email it to the client. Okay. Typically, by the time of the discovery call to the proposal, I usually do the proposal right after because they're ready to buy. When I get off the phone, they're ready. Okay. And they select which one they want to go with. Most of the time, they pick the one that I tell them. Sometimes they increase. It's kind of weird, but they do. And then it goes straight into the contract or the engagement letter, whichever you call it. And that comes straight from the CRM as well. It is a template. I'm not recreating the wheel every single time I file it. I have a new client. And once the client signs the proposal, they're automatically sent this contract. So I don't have to do anything. Again, if my last call of the day is at 5 o'clock and I shut down, I hit the send proposal button. When I'm done, I go to bed. I wake up the next morning and contract's ready. I'm ready to roll. Have a new client. Let's move with this. Okay. Any questions on phase 1 before we move into phase 2?
I have one.
Absolutely.
So,
Brandy, go ahead.
Yeah. So when you said that you don't charge for the diagnostic review, so how detailed is your diagnostic review? Because you probably heard of Veronica Wasek, and I took her.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm all the BL brand. Like me, you'll get all that brand, you'll get all the BL stuff. So anyway, I've done her course, and I've also done a couple of diagnostic reviews via that. I charged like $100 for both or something, 150, not that much, but so those are very, very detailed reports. And then the client gets the report. It's 7-8 page report. You do all the stuff. So, but when you're just doing, of course I do I can go through and just do a investigation at a glance is what I call it. It's 20-30 minutes.
Yep.
And of course I don't charge for that. So I was just wondering the detailed of your diagnostic review that you don't charge for.
Absolutely. So Brandy, what you're talking about, yes, I have Veronica's form, so I know exactly what you're talking about. It is extremely detailed. And if you are doing that for a client, I highly recommend that you charge for that because that is taking more than 30 minutes. Your client is gaining value from that. Now, my client is not gaining any value from what I'm doing. I'm gaining the value from it because I'm only doing it for a pricing standpoint. That is why I'm doing it. So as you said, I think you called it investigation at a glance. 20-30 minutes, that's exactly what I'm doing. So I'm looking to see if there's undeposited funds. I'm looking to see if there's more bank or less bank accounts or more bank accounts than what they told me. I'm looking at the number of transactions, that type of thing. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not nitpicking the balance sheet. I'm not doing any of that kind of stuff like you are in the other.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I do the same thing. I just kind of, for the usual suspects, I go through and
that is correct. Yep, that is right. Okay. Yeah, if you're doing that 7-8 page document, I know which one you're talking about, please charge for that because that is definitely a lot of work. Absolutely. All right. So we're going to go now from the contract to the kickoff. So the first phase, all of that I just talked about is done in Dubsado. Okay, so the initial intake form is in Dubsado. That proposal is in Dubsado. All the emails that I'm sending back and forth are in Dubsado. The contract is in Dubsado. So to me, phase 1 is in my CRM, which we use Dubsado for. Okay, phase 2 is now in my task management system, which we use Keeper for. So contract to kickoff. So after the contract to the kickoff, and that should say second phase. I apologize. The second phase in this is going to be welcome. We're going to talk about that. Task management, gather information from the client, set up apps, and your kickoff call. So remember, all of this I have set up in Keeper. So the very first thing the client's going to get is a welcome email from me. It's going to explain my communication standards, and it's going to explain the next steps in the process. Clients want to be in the know. That is the main thing. They want to know what's coming next. They want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They don't care if it's 10 steps. They just want to know what it is. What's going to happen? What's the time frame that we're looking at? Our company also sends welcome gifts. I know several of you have incorporated that after going through coaching with me, and have got really great feedback from your clients. But this is also the time that we send welcome gifts to our clients. They don't have to be extravagant. They don't have to be very expensive, but it is something that's personal that we send to our clients. And then the next step is to set up your client in your task management system. So now they know what's about to happen. And we go and add our client to our TMS, which is Keeper. We add them in there. We hook them up to QBO. We apply the templates that we already have formatted in Keeper. We customize it for the client, whether it be applying their logo, adding them to the client portal, all the things to make it feel like it's their place. And then we also assign tasks to team members. Now, if you are using Keeper or you are using Asana or whatever you're using, I recommend one thing for you, because I'm assuming, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I'm assuming all of us eventually want some team members, right? We don't want to always be a one-man show. And if you're doing that and you want to have team members with you in the future, I recommend from the get-go that you don't assign tasks to individual people. You assign them to different types of people. So it may be a manager, it could be a reviewer, it could be a preparer, whatever it may be, admin. And that way you can easily move people around as you need by one click of a button instead of changing every single task within that system. Okay, Keeper is amazing, it's phenomenal for this. The next step is to start gathering client information. This is the tedious part that most of us cannot stand because our clients never want to listen and do what they're supposed to do, right? But we use Keeper and we ask our clients for all the things that we're going to need. So when we onboard a client, I have a template in Keeper that goes through different things, and it asks them to watch a video for them to be able to know how to use the client portal. Okay, it's important. It's new to them. I want them to feel comfortable. I want the experience to be amazing for them. Okay. I ask them to provide different things, whether it be contact information, like who am I going to contact? If it's not you, who do I contact? Who's the next person in charge? I ask for their bank statements. I ask for them to set me up as a read-only, for read-only access to their banks and their credit cards. I'm going to need that information. And then I go ahead and set that up also in our password system, which we use LastPass for. We go ahead and set up their payroll, their sales tax, anything that I can get from the client that they can give me, their last year's tax returns, their formation documents, all of those things, again, is a template inside of Keeper. All I have to do is click a button that says add this template to this new client, and boom, there it is. One time, I set it up one time, and then they provide all those documentations to me.
Can I ask a quick question, Stephanie?
Of course you can. I don't know even who's talking. Oh, Donna, there we go. Go ahead, Donna.
Yeah, I came a little late. I was working at my other job. So on the passwords and setting them up in LastPass, is that something that you have a master list that all of your clients go into, or do you set each client up with their own passwords for whatever applies?
Oh, good question. So I'm going to answer it the way I think that you ask it. If not, then you can tell me, Donna. Okay. So within our LastPass, we actually have folders for each one of our clients. And so within the folder, you know, if they have a Bank of America credit card and a Chase Bank or whatever, there's individual passwords. Our clients usually set that password up, but I ask them to set the username for a specific thing, and I actually give them what I want them to use the username for, which is usually a combination of my business and their business with a couple of numbers. And that way it's really easy for me as well. If something doesn't get put in a folder in LastPass, I know right where it's supposed to go. Is that what you're asking, Donna?
So in LastPass, you have folders and then you have those things associated with them in there. And then you can give access to certain people on your team to folders. Is that how
That is
that
correct.
works?
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
And then you set up the username, but you have them set up the password.
That is correct. Yeah. And I can change it at any time, but typically they do like an initial password in the beginning. They let me know what
Okay.
that is. Yep.
That helps a lot. Thanks.
Absolutely. And if there's any two-factor authentication, I know that's extremely important right now. I do have a phone number that all of my team uses. It's Ring Central is actually what I use. I know Google has phones, all different kind of virtual phone numbers that you can use. I also give them that information in Keeper when I'm onboarding. So they do two-factor authentication. I tell them that that's the number. But if they need me for two-factor authentication, like if I need a code right then, and some of them do, we do that during our kickoff call. Okay. Awesome.
One more tiny question.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you're not used to doing all of that and you're onboarding your first clients through all of these steps, is that something you could circle back around to and just do later?
100% you
Okay.
can. But I highly, highly recommend that you do get passwords from your clients, because here's the thing. If you're working at 2 a.m. and you need to get back into QBO and it becomes disconnected, right? I don't need them to get in there at 2 a.m. I don't want to bother my clients at 2 a.m. And that's what I tell them. If there is any hesitation, and I've had a few in the past, like the older people have an issue sometimes, like, oh, you're in my bank. And I'm like, first of all, it's read only. I can only see, I can't do a thing, number one. But number two, I work a lot late at night. So if you don't mind me bothering you at 2 a.m., we can leave it like this. And they're like, oh, never mind, just forget it. So that usually fixes that. All right. Let's see. I'm going to run through this. I know there's a couple of things in the chat here, so I'm going to come to that in just a minute, but I'm going to run through this one first. The next step is to set up your app. So there are any third-party apps that you have. That would be the next step in this. Whether maybe you're doing payroll for your clients, you need to set up Gusto or Paychecks or whatever you're using. If you're doing receipt management for your clients, you need to set that up. If you are doing accounts payable for your clients or accounts receivable, maybe you need to set up those third-party apps as well. This is the time that you start working on that. And then the next phase is the kickoff meeting with your client. This is my absolute favorite meeting besides my analysis calls that I have with my clients. I like these kickoffs even more than the initial, okay? Because I know they trust me at that point. I know we can all let our hair down at that point and really just enjoy each other and really get to know each other. So in Keeper, the very last task that I have for them in the template is, once you've completed all onboarding, click this link and go book your kickoff call. Usually that kickoff call, I give myself about 5 to 7 days from the time they click that. So I use Calendly and I say you can't book it for 5 days, right? And that way that gives me time to go in and look at everything that they've uploaded before our kickoff. So I know what's missing, because I'm going to go over that with them during that kickoff. Again, I'm going to make them feel special. Again, I'm going to welcome them to the team again. I'm going to tell them I appreciate them. We're going to finish setting up any apps, whether that's two-factor authentication or whatever that may be, and go over any outstanding items that are still needed for us to start working. And the next phase is to breathe. Guys, just breathe. Breathe a minute. Take a minute, sit in the joy. This is something that my coaching coach told me about a year ago. When I get so excited, but then I'm like, okay, what's next? Okay, I got a new client. What's next? I got a new client. What's next? Right? Well, we're ready to just keep moving. We're worker bees by nature. And she said, Stephanie, I want you to take a minute and sit in the joy. So take a minute, breathe, sit in the joy that you've got a new client. Be excited about that client. Like excite your team if you have a team about this new client. And then get started on the bookkeeping. So I want you to stop, take a break, and then get started. Don't just roll in to that next phase. So I'm going to open it up to questions. I know there are some already in the chat, so I'm going to ask those first. But if you have any, go ahead and unmute me or unmute you. Lakeisha says, what kind of gifts do you send? For me, we actually... So believe it or not, most of my clients are not from my home state. So I actually send something that is special to Georgia. So I send them a piece of me, is what I say. I'm going to send you a piece of me all the way from Georgia. And it could be random things. I mean, we're Peach State, we have pecans, we have all the different things. So I usually send them some type of gift basket of all Georgia things. We live near Savannah, so there may be some Savannah sweets in there. Different things like that. Some Savannah honey we have sent before. It really depends on the client. But my VA does an amazing job about putting a little gift basket together for me. And always send a handwritten thank you note with your gift. Okay. So sending things from Amazon is amazing and it's easy, right? But you can't send that handwritten thank you. So if you are doing Amazon, make sure you also do a card or something as a thank you that's handwritten to your client. Does that help, Lakeisha? Perfect. All right. Brandy asks says, I love the gift sending part. I also send a handwritten card after the first consultation, just thanking them for their time and for considering me for your accounting needs, etc. I love that. I live in Hawaii. Yes, you do, Jelly. So I send cool Hawaiian local products. Love it, love it, love it. So yeah, so you send a piece of you to Brandy as well. And I also have a lot of clients a lot of coaching clients that do the same. So they may send like coffee that's something special and local to where they live. Or they could send like the opposite. So maybe they're talking to the client and they learn that they, really like, I don't know, bumblebees or something. And so they send them something like very special to them or to their particular company. Like if they're a stationery company, maybe they'll send them something, obviously not stationery, but something that would kind of go with that type of business. So those are all really good ideas, but the handwritten note goes so much further than the gift. So if you're not in a place of business right now to be able to send a gift, just send the handwritten thank you note. That will mean so much more to them than even that gift, honestly, guys. So that's very important. Speaking of gifts too, I also do gifts throughout the time that they're with me. So whether you're a coaching client and maybe you haven't gotten one yet, but you will or not. But I also send like birthday gifts sometimes. I'll send just special things. People are having a bad day. I might just send something. It's really about I'm thinking about you. That's really what it is. It's not about the monetary gift. It's I'm thinking about you. And how often does that happen? How often do you get something in the mail from somebody because they're just thinking about you? Like it hardly ever happens. So you're trying to set that good impression with that potential client or that client. I love that. Yes, you see what they buy often and send a little gift from that entity. I love that, Brandy, because you know what they're buying, right? You know where they're purchasing things from. So that is a great, great thing. I love that. All right. So everybody can unmute if you'd like. Any questions that you may have about onboarding, this is your time to ask me. I think we got about 10 more minutes until this is over, but I am your open book here.
Okay, I'll go. So I do like the idea of how you kind of like quote a price while you're on the call with them. And I like how that you incorporate, hey, I already know that you need that equipment or whatever, or you need, I have a client now that needs their tax return done fast because they're trying to purchase a home, they need a loan, anything, whatever the case may be. And also too, like I like to also use, because my niche is veterinarians and they make $100 to $500 an hour. So the hours that they're spending on that, just a few hours of their time could pay for my monthly fee, so
Absolutely.
it's easier for me to say those things. So sometimes they still don't understand. And they're just like, oh, think about it, this and that. So is there any other things that you say to them to like, and then I do that too. I follow up with the official proposal and then still follow up with that, and then I ask them, is there anything I can help you do to help you make your decision? That kind of thing. So
absolutely. So I am not a salesperson, Brandy. I will be the first to tell you, I don't like sales. I hate sales, as a matter of fact. My business could probably be so much bigger if I liked it, but I don't want to force anybody to work with me. So if I have explained everything, at this point, and they're still like, that's going to be too high, that tells me they're going to be a problem client, right? And I don't want to work with problem clients. I would love to have their money, love to do their work, but my peace of mind and my emotional well-being, because PITA clients just stress me out, let's face it, is more important to me. So I'm not going to twist someone's arm. I know that there are other people out there that'll tell you, to go through all these different sales techniques and whatnot. I'm just not that gal. So I do the follow-ups. I do continue to communicate with them on Facebook or wherever they found me, until they say, Stephanie, I've found a bookkeeper, like we're done. Right. And even then I'll check back in with them in a year. I put it in my CRM to check back in a year just to see how things are going, how's business, just to stay in communication with them, not in a salesy way, just to make sure it's not a, well, you didn't like me, so I'm done with you kind of thing.
Yeah, I do the same thing too. And then and also too, like sometimes they'll just shoot me down right away. So yeah, like even before we get on the call, I already have somebody great. And then I follow up with really nice messages. I'm so glad that you have somebody that you love and trust already. Let me know if anything changes, that kind of thing. I'm not a salesperson either. I abhor marketing. Like I hate is not a strong enough word to what I feel about marketing is. I can't stand it. And some marketing coaches will say, yes, keep at them until they absolutely say no, take a restraining order out on you, like until they're just like, I'm going to come stab you. Like I'm going to.
Yep. You're right. You're absolutely right. I've heard the coaching techniques, and I'm not going to tell you to do that, because that is not my style at all, at all. I serve, I don't sell. That's what I say. So when I'm out marketing and doing things, I'm out serving, I'm not selling. So if they like me, they like my product, they like what I have to say, they're going to buy from me. If they don't, then they just don't. That's my mentality of it. My coach probably wouldn't like me for saying that, but good thing she's not on this call listening to me today. Thanks for your question, Brandy. Anyone else?
I have a question.
Absolutely.
As far as the kickoff call, I know you said that you will go over if there's any outstanding items from your list that you sent in Keeper. But what else do you, like, say they sent everything? What else do you talk about in this kickoff call? Because I struggle with that. Like I have it in Calendly to schedule it, but I never know what to say and things like that in the kickoff call.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I will go over again, like how to get in contact with me. Of course, I welcome them again. If there is nothing left, right? And that doesn't happen very often, but it does happen sometimes. If there's nothing left, a lot of my clients, we do fractional CFO work for. So I'm a proactive bookkeeper. So I look in the future more than the past. So 99% of my clients do have fractional CFO work. So we go ahead and start doing some of that goal mapping, some of that planning, trying to figure out where are some KPIs that we need to start looking at and making analysis on. What are their goals for the next 6 months? What are some things that they're worried about in their business, whether it be, low income, high expenses, anything like that. We start talking about that and really diving into that. Does that help, Lakeisha?
It does, but what if they're not taking your advisory services?
If they're not taking advisory and they have given me everything, it's going to be more of a really quick call. It's probably going to be 20 minutes max. And again, I don't recommend the kickoffs being any more than an hour, even if there's a lot of stuff going on. So it could be a quick 20 minutes, welcome again. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions for me? How was the client portal? Was it easy to navigate? That kind of thing. And if there's no questions, then I tell them, go make some money and I got your books. That's kind of how I end it. Yep. Good question. All right. Anyone else? Thank you for those books there, Angela. I appreciate, or not Angela, yeah, Shannon. I'm sorry. Appreciate that. Shannon dropped some book titles in the chat for you guys. Awesome. All right. Well, last thing, again, thank you for being here for our monthly webinar. Again, we have one every single month inside the group, a free webinar. And you get to vote. So you guys voted today. I don't know which one you voted on, but there was the majority vote for onboarding this month. So that's what we talked about. I do want to let you guys know, in case you don't know, because it's become apparent that everybody doesn't know that there's coaching programs out there that we offer. So currently we have the Bookkeeper Bestie Club going on, which is a monthly membership where we have 4 webinars a month, not including these free ones. And we have the Bookkeeper Bestie Club, which is my one-on-one VIP, where you get access to the Bestie Club, plus you get me one-on-one every other week. And we also have a retreat coming up in Nashville in October. I have 3 spots open for that. So if you are still looking for that, reach out to me and let me know if you'd like some more information. Got 3 more spots. And you could always visit the Rescue My Bookkeeping Business website if you have any questions about any of the coaching programs that we offer. So again, I appreciate you ladies being here, taking an hour out of your busy day. I know it is. Hope you learned something about onboarding, and I will talk with all of you soon.